Well, not too long ago, like a week ago, we got a new Nintendo Direct. And it had some cool stuff. A teaser trailer for the new Mario movie, some new Mario games, the Virtual Boy, and a lot of other things. But you know what's not cool? The prices. Now this isn't new. Nintendo have had problems with prices before, mainly as ports of games on their consoles. But like, all I've heard about the Switch 2 since this announcement has been about the prices, mainly on the console and more importantly, the games themselves. And that got me thinking, why is it like this? Why is everyone and their grandma complaining about the price? Why do I complain about the price? So where better to start than... Since the 90s, games, or at least the big games, have stayed at roughly the same price of the $50-$60 mark, which adjusted for inflation is $70 to $100, depending on when it came out. Oh. But that all changed in 2020, when the first $70 game came out, NBA 2K21, which seems to be a basketball game, I guess. We would then have to wait another 3 years for Nintendo's first $70 game, Tears of the Kingdom. I'm gonna be real here, I've only played like the intro to Breath of the Wild, and it took me 4 hours to get that dang paraglider. So I've hardly even looked into Tears of the Kingdom. So it's really up to you to decide if it's worth the $70 price tag. Anyway, Nintendo went back down to around $60 up until the Switch 2. Arguably, the announcement of the Switch 2 is where it really started going downhill, showing just how greedy Nintendo is. Like, the first game announced for this thing was Mario Kart World. It looks cool, but not $80 cool. And if you think that's bad, by far the worst thing Nintendo has done price-related wise was a welcome tour, a tech demo that costs $10 to play. But that's not it. If you want to 100% it, you also need to have a 4K TV or monitor, a camera, and a Pro Controller. So this already $10 game can cost up to over $100. And even more if you don't have a TV. A 4K TV. Remember when games like Wii Sports came bundled in with the console, and it was like a full game? Back to Mario Kart World, I ran a poll and asked some people if they think it deserves to be a lower price tag, because I don't have the game. So here's what they said. Since this happened, Nintendo's prices have been spiraling. For example, all games are now $70, which I guess is just the new standard. There's a Switch 2 edition or whatever games, which is basically just $20 DLC, that has no right costing $20. And in some cases, DLC for games that aren't even out yet. Even earlier this year, Nintendo raised the price of all Switch 1 consoles to make it sound like a better deal for the Switch 2, and it's really not. The pricing on ports have always been a bit much, but it's never been this bad. The first few years of Switch's life were mainly spent porting Wii U games over, and I get not everyone has a Wii U. I do. But the full $60 for a port that adds very little, like for example, Mario U Deluxe and Tropical Freeze Deluxe. These are two games that add pretty much nothing. I mean, they add an easy mode, and that's it. Another one of these ports is one more recent. Oh, Donkey Kong Country Returns. Returns. I can say it's more worth it than the other two, but that's not really a high bar to cross. It adds new levels, but they're from the 3DS. Like, not even the easy mode is new to the Switch port, because the 3DS had it first. Before we move on to that Direct, let's take a look at the best port, Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Because it adds quality of life features, like saving green stars in the mid-air roll, it adds online without the 4 people, and it adds an entire small open world side game. Plus, it's just a fun game. I think it's one of the only ports actually worth $60. It was pretty good, but a lot of it comes from the Booster Course Pass, which was an extra $25. But it does add a lot of extra content. But sadly, I can't stay positive for very long. I'll admit, that direct had some cool stuff, even if the thing I mainly cared about was Tomodachi Life 2. We're getting a new Mario Tennis and Yoshi game, which I find interesting. We also got a teaser for the Mario Movie 2, named the Mario Galaxy Movie, and it looks fun. But where it all crumbles is the other Mario Galaxy thing announced. The games themselves. They're getting imported to the Switch. That might sound fine, but not when you see the price. Nintendo had the nerve to charge $70. Don't get me wrong, the Galaxy games are some of my favorite Wii games, like in the top 10, but seriously, $70 for two 15-year-old games. Oh, but don't worry, you can buy just one of them for $40. Just because they're adding some extra storybook content and a music player does not mean it should cost that much. What they should have done is just made a Switch 2 edition or whatever for 3D All-Stars that adds Galaxy 2. But it doesn't even stop there. Amiibo used to be cool little collectibles that would give you extra bonus things. Usually cool costumes and stuff back on the Wii U, but slowly over time, the functionality of them has gone down, but the price has gone way up. They went from around $13 to now running you $40 to $50. Like, who is buying these? They hardly do anything anymore, and you can buy like an entire game for the price of one of these amiibo. Finally, there's DLC for games. Instead of DLC for Mario Kart World, a game that could really use something new, they gave Donkey Kong Bananza DLC. You know, the game that's barely been out 2 months. The DLC costs $20, and what does it add? It adds one new island. I mean, it looks cool, but it doesn't seem to add much. It also gives you a new mode, just basically running around breaking emeralds, and that looks kind of repetitive. We also got DLC for a game that hasn't even come out yet. Pokemon ZA is getting $30 DLC, and it hasn't even come out yet. So if you want to play the game, including the DLC, it's $90 to $100. That's absolutely crazy to me. Or the most out of left field thing announced was the Virtual Boy for Switch Online, and it's just so wacky. However, it only includes 14 out of the 22 games. You have to own the Switch Online expansion pass, and you also have to spend $100 for a piece of plastic. Oh, but you can spend only $25 on some cardboard. Looking into it, it is way cheaper than getting an actual Virtual Boy, but still, there's no reason you should have to spend over to around $100 to play, I don't know, golf. You know, that hit Virtual Boy game. Nintendo's pricing problem isn't new, but the longer it goes on, the more it snowballs. Like, all of this was just the games, not even mentioning controllers, other accessories, or the Switch Online. Do I think Nintendo will reduce the price on all these things? Honestly, no, not really. Because I know, and you know, even Nintendo knows, that no matter how much everyone complains or boycotts the prices, they will still buy it. It happened with this console and Mario Kart World, and it will happen again. If you want to try to help, just don't buy it, or at least wait for a good price on eBay, so you can still buy the game, but Nintendo won't get your money. Show Nintendo that you don't want to pay $70 for a game that has no right in being $70. Or I guess $80. Thank you all for watching this video. This was my first time doing something like this, with a script and everything, so if you have any feedback, I would appreciate it if you let me know. I really don't like asking this, but if you could please consider subscribing, it would really mean a lot. This was just something I'm kind of interested in and wanted to talk about. I know a lot of other people have made videos like this in the past week, but I wanted to do something new. I wanted to try something different, and different to all those other ones. But yeah. On screen are just some credits to the people featured in this video, and the sources, and music and everything. But yeah, with that, thank you all for watching. I will hopefully see you all next time. Good